G'day everyone, Dodgy Coit here again. We've got our volatile magic farming video happening and I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to cut right to the chase. Okay, we're going to go straight to the bit where we're going to convert all this volatile magic into money. I know a lot of YouTube people like to string this stuff out and make you wait and go for engagement and play with the algorithm and all that. That's not my style, okay? This is what we're going to do. We're going to go straight to the Eye of the North. We're going to head to a NPC called Lady Camilla here. If you haven't done this, you're going to find the option to grab yourself a Karma merchant on this list. If you have already done it, then it won't be on the list. So grab your Karma merchant and that person's going to appear over in the corner where I'm running to right now. The Karma merchant is going to have the ability to change your icy bits that you grab from Jorah marches and convert them into a currency that can be eaten for volatile magic. So you can see here I'm going to, I think it's the fourth screen, fourth or fifth on the way down. There it is. Okay, I generally go for the Mistonian ones there. It doesn't matter, anyone is good except for the Kralkite or whatever it's called. Don't get that. Okay, so get as many as you can get with the volatile magic that you've got and then eat them. Okay, and you can see down the bottom right there, that gave us something like 2,500 volatile magic. Now that was what I got from one run of the Jorah Marches farming mission. There are 3 maps that are really good to get this volatile magic on if you're just going to straight farm it. That's the Jorah Marches, the Jahai Bluffs in Living World Series 4, and the Domain of Corner, also in Living World Series 4. But both of them are inferior to the amount that you will get from just doing the Jorah Marches in Icebrood. So I highly recommend that's the one you want to farm. You're going to get your maximum amount. So then you go to your bank and you can see where I'm scrolling down to here. We're going to look for Living World Series 4 currency items that I've got sitting in the bank. And they'll all be in one row. And you can see my cursor here going over the row. That is all Living World Series 4 currencies that I've got floating around from doing runs and picking up stuff. Put them all into your inventory and consume the whole lot of it for volatile magic. And then we're going to go to a merchant and we're going to put this stuff to good use. We're going to turn it into gold. After you've seen how to do this, the next part of the video is going to be me actually farming out in the Jorah Marches. And I highly recommend you do hang in for that because there's a couple of really good tips and tricks on how to maximize your gain for one run of the map. But you don't necessarily have to do that because straight up you've seen exactly how to turn that volatile magic into coin. So we've headed over to the Domain of Bistan. The only reason I go here is because the merchant is right on the teleport point. It just makes it nice and easy. So right where you teleport in, here's the merchant. And the item that you're going to buy with all this volatile magic are these trophy containers. Trophy shipments. There it is. And you just get as many of those as you can with the volatile magic that you've got. Don't worry about the gold that you're outlaying. You're going to double that gold. Basically, that's going to be your return. Whatever gold you spend there. So let's say I get 12 containers, which cost 12 gold. I'm going to get about 24 gold back. So that gives you an idea of your investment. I'll get it back virtually immediately. So I've traded those containers in for the items. Then you go straight to the trading post and start selling it off. Look for the bids that pre-exist on the right hand side. Match the lowest one that's on the right hand side there and do that for each one of them. If there's something like, 6,000 of them for sale at that price, mate, drop your price by like 5 cents, you know what I mean? Be smart about it. But generally don't undercut yourself. Whatever the market is sitting at, go with that. You do not need to drop your price by a whole heap for these to sell. They sell constantly. And all right, that's the method. That is pretty much it. So as I said, I don't really hold with farming people out and making them wait for the information that they got onto the video for. That is how you do it. That's the nuts and bolts. So you do want to have ice brewed, and you do want to be able to head over to the Eye of the North, speak to Mistress Camilla, a very suggestive name in my opinion, but let's not go there. And then pick up that Karma Merchant, go see the Karma Merchant, trade in all of your icy bits that you got from the Bajora March farm run for Living World Series 4 currency. As I said, I recommend the Mistonium, because generally if you've done any other farming runs, you've probably been out to Jahai Bluffs, and that's the currency that's from that map. That's actually not a bad run, but to give you an idea, put it into perspective, a full run of Jahai Bluffs gave me 37 Mistoniums. Okay, doing a full run of the Bajora Marches, when I traded it in, gave me 100. So nearly 3 times the amount of volatile magic currency from doing one farming run of the Bajora Marches. So just keep that in mind. It is definitely the best way to go about it. But the Living World Series 4 maps are okay and they're fun. I actually do have a recording of me doing a Jahai Bluffs farm run. I won't put that up just yet. I'll wait till this video pops. So as I said, you've seen me put all of this stuff through, and now we're going to go to the bit where I actually farmed it out. So people who want to hang in there, I get kind of hypnotized by this stuff. They talk about line hypnosis. For me, it's like loot hypnosis. I love watching farming. I like farming, like I said. So I'll do a fresh blurb to go with this very soon, but that's the main guts of the video done with. The rest is how to maximize your gain while you're in this map. For the people who are disappearing with the knowledge that they've got, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you giving a fairly new Guild Wars 2 creator a go. And for everyone else that's going to hang about for the rest, in a couple of seconds I'm going to start crapping on with the blurb on how this works and how I maximised my farming input from doing this run. Alright guys, here we go. Right, now you can see that we are using our Blish HUD to get the usual farming track up. Basically you're just going to be following the Icy Bits farming route that'll be in the list there for your Blish HUD. But now there's a couple things with farming out here that you need to do to maximise things. There's actually some mastery lines that will influence, number one, the size of the chests that you can open, and then number two, the materials that you will actually get out of those chests. So you are going to have to attend to those masteries, and as soon as I finish arsing around with this little bit here, I'm going to bring it up on screen and show you what the masteries are. But while we wait for that, I generally take the farming runs out here in a fairly relaxed sort of a way. I did this one much quicker than normal because I wanted to give everyone an idea of how long it takes to do a full map run without any arsing around, okay? We're just doing nothing but the farming. But generally, every single event I come across, I'll stop and do it because it's kind of fun. And also, if you're fresh to the area, you're going to need the XP because you are going to want to fill out those masteries. In particular, you want to look at that Raven mastery because you need access to the shrines and you need access to the teleport points, the ability to operate those, and you gain the ability to do both of those from the Raven mastery. But once you've got that up to the second level, you're okay to start leveling the Valor Mastery and the Vigilance Mastery. And your goal is to get all of them up to the third level. I took the Raven to the top level, and then I took the others to the third level. taking Raven to the top level gives me a much longer period of time when I use the shrines that I get the protection from the cold. You're going to need that when you see storms come in. This map, you kind of keep one eye on the right hand side for any weather info blurbs that are going to come up. One of them is particularly important. One of them opens the door to a massive loot fest. It's obscene. It's beautiful. I love it. So you're going to see that because that actually happened during this farming run, and it really and truly pumps up the gain that you get from doing a farm out here. There's a place called Azir's Corridor or Azir's something or other, and it's closed at all times except after one of these storms when the weather clears. There's like a 10-minute window when the area is open, and whatever you're doing, you're going to drop everything, you're going to charge in there, and you're going to just grab chest after chest, because basically it's one huge treasure house. Right, so these are these masteries I was rabbiting on about. I'm going to bring them up on screen so you can have a look. Really cheap as far as mastery points go. As you can see, you can get the 3rd tier for a 4-point spend. So you only need a total of, 12 or 16 if you want to go as far as I did, mastery points, which you can get from the Icy Brood maps. And if you do some of the, what are they called? It'll come to me. But yeah, they're really easy to get. Do your insight points, and yeah, not strikes. That's it. Do your strikes. If you do the strikes that come from this area, they all pay out mastery points as well. You'll find you'll get plenty. You'll get heaps. And most of the strikes that come from the Ice Brood area, you see them listed under the ICB3 or ICB5 moniker on the looking for group. They're easy, dead easy. You don't need a special build. You don't need fantastic gear. It's basically run in there and just beat the shit out of it till, hey, we win. So really good to get those. Make sure you do get the mastery points. Other than that, there's not a whole lot else to rabbit on about here. It's basically follow Blish path, pick up all of the chests, make sure you mine all of the icy, eternal ice bits, and that's where you're going to get your what you need for the currency. As you can see here, we've kind of got the same thing happening that you get on a lot of the Living World Series 4 maps, the aggro. You're going to pull aggro from 10 miles away. You're not going to be able to get on your mount until you've dealt with the aggro. I find it slightly annoying. It's not as bad here as it is in Living World Series 4 though. Some of those maps, oh man, you can't get on your mount for love or money, something from halfway across the map threw a bolt at you, and yeah, until you've dealt with it, you're stuck. But it's not quite that bad here. Keep your eye out for the, and you see we need to use the, we need to use our beetle mount, and we need to use our jackal mount out here as well to maximize our returns. Very good if you've got access to both of those. If you don't, sorry, can't help you. Look, it's just how it is. Those mounts have a lot to do with maximum gains when you're farming, which is why I bothered to get them in the first place. As you've probably noticed, other than actually breaking into those areas for loot, I never use those mounts. It's sky scale all the way. I just very lazy, I'm just not going to be switching mounts to gain an extra 5 seconds of time running around the map. It's just not going to happen. But when it comes to picking up an extra 3 chests, oh yeah, I'll switch mounts then. Yeah, I'll do that. No worries. So you can see I'm picking up that protection whenever I see it, just on the off chance the weather changes or you drop into a spot where the temperature plummets, because there is a mechanic out here where you start taking big damage if you don't have some sort of protection on from the Raven shrines in that event. And it's bloody annoying stuff. Better to just, you see a Raven shrine, just pick up the protection and keep it on as much as possible. Right, so the biggest thing to keep in mind out here, as I said, those mastery points, get those mastery lines filled out, the ones that I showed you a little earlier. Get them to level 3. That'll give you access to the biggest chests and the best loot. It also lets you pick up these essences from killing these turkeys, which add to your defensive and offensive ability in a similar way that your Jade bot adds to it. You also get some special abilities, some big damage buttons that I never ever get around to using, so you know, they're just not that useful. Some people might, you know, they want to use all the stuff. Yeah, good, yeah, champions, but I keep it pretty simple. I pick up my Jade bots. That gives me a bit of a buff to my my condi damage, and gives me a bit of a buff to my toughness. And other than that, mate, I don't even bother with food and my icy runestones when I'm out farming. I don't want to be using resources. I'm out here to get resources, not use them. I save that for stuff for if I'm doing fractals, or if I'm doing strikes, or one day I might even look at what a raid looks like in this game, you know. And for stuff like that, yeah, I'm going to use resources. But if I'm just farming a map, nah, man. No, I just load up my Jade bot buffs, and that's about it. Oh, and get the armor reinforced. I mean, I'm not that slack. So you can see it really hurts me to just ignore all these events as I'm going past them. I'm used to stopping at each one. It really breaks things up. It doesn't add much time to the farming run, but like I said, I do want to give you guys an idea of how long it genuinely takes to do a full run. I get about 2/3 through this run, and I get the notice that the weather's cleared and AC's corridor is open. And you'll see me immediately get rid of the Blish overlay, because it gets in the way of me picking my teleport points. You just teleport back to the start where you initially come in, and then you'll see the path that I follow to get to that area. There's a couple of really piss-weak bosses, and there's people come out the woodwork. You wouldn't have seen anyone the whole time you're farming. You get to that spot and there's like 100 dudes all wailing on the couple of poor bastards that are in there protecting the chests. And about 90 seconds later, you've got access to a metric ton of chests that are in that area. And hopefully you've remembered where you were up to in your farming run once you've glutted yourself, absolutely greed-fested those chests, and go back to your farming run. That's pretty much how this rolls. Yeah, it's a nice area. I actually haven't finished Ice Brood yet. I'm still mucking around in the last few parts of it, and then I'll be moving on to End of Dragon. I have done a bit of End of Dragons, and same goes for Janthea and all the others, just for unlocks, unlocking spear, unlocking weapons, same as Soto. I wanted to unlock the ability to use daggers and pistols and what have you on all sorts of characters, so I got those unlocks done, and of course the Sky Scale unlocks, but I really didn't pay much attention to the storyline. That's my way of keeping it spoiler free. I just don't pay attention to it until I go back and actually do the thing in full. So, you know, not too much loss there in my opinion for the convenience that I traded it for. Yeah, I don't mind this map at all actually. It's got some spooky music, some spooky vibes, and it's a good farming map. It's not too convoluted. Yeah, you pretty much hard charge the whole thing. Something I will mention, I have said in other videos, one of the reasons I've come from Final Fantasy XIV to Guild Wars 2 is because I find it so much more fun. And a lot of that's to do with how alive the world is when you're running around. But when you watch my videos, you might think, well, it doesn't seem very alive. You know, you look like you're about the only person running around out there. Ha-ha! Well, there's a reason for that. As you've probably picked up, I'm an Aussie. And my playtimes are way, way different to everyone else's on the server. At the moment, changeover time for the server for me is 10 o'clock in the morning here in Australia. So if I'm playing at like 6 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night or something, it's probably about, I don't know, 2 or 3 in the morning or something like that in USA. And I do play on the North American servers. So you don't see a lot of people running out here in the farming areas when I'm out farming. And that's also another reason why I do spend a bit of time farming instead of jumping into big groups on the metas and what have you, because when I'm playing of an evening, there's not a lot of that going down, to be quite honest. In the mornings there are. I'm actually looking at transitioning to an afternoon shift work situation at the moment, so I can kind of keep more of a North American time schedule for my game. I know that sounds kind of sad, but hey, it's one of my favourite hobbies, gaming. I'm a 55-year-old codger. I'll do what I like. If people don't like it, stiff. Absolute stiff cheddar, don't care what other people think about anything to do with my life. Stopped being important decades ago. So yeah, that's pretty much how it is. So yeah, it's when I'm running around in the mornings, these maps are absolutely choco-blocker. There's heaps of people running around, but it is actually very cool to make the videos in my afternoon, which is your extremely early morning, because I just get a better ping and the servers seem more responsive. As you can imagine, coming from Australia, there is a bit of a ping issue to deal with. Our internet is notoriously crap. Thank you, Australian politicians, you cheap bastards. Our internet, total balls, hopeless. So I do the best I can with it, you know. So you can see we got this storm situation happening now. I'm making sure I'm protected at all times. I could go somewhere with that as a double entendre, but let's leave it. And make sure you got your protection on and keep farming. Just keep farming, don't worry about the storm. But that's good news. You can see we've got this big storm. You know what happens after the storm. After the storm it gets calm and it's time to go absolutely loot spastic in that area that we don't have access to at the moment. It's not even on the Blish HUD loot run. It's not there at all because they don't factor it in because it is only available for a very short time and only after certain events have happened. But those events always happen. This is a massively popular map for farming with very good reason. It's extremely profitable hooking in out here. And sometimes when things aggro on you, you just have to do the little events, you know, even if you're trying to rush like I am. Oh well, more XP. Another thing that I do is I'll alternate characters out here because of course the masteries apply to all my characters, but some of the characters may not have been out here. So all of the POI points and teleport points and vistas and everything they go past while they're on the farm run, heaps and heaps of XP, you know. It's just a real cheap way to generate XP and also give all of my alts the teleport points in case I'm on an alt and someone's out here and maybe a meta comes up or something and I want to rush in and get it done. I don't have to go, oh shit, I've got to travel across half the map, this guy doesn't have a teleport point. Yep, my poor old potato i5's dealing with the particles quite well. I actually found a couple of settings. You may have noticed some of my videos have been a little bit on the dark side. They look fantastic when I'm playing, but when I run it through the software that I use to compile these videos, it just seems a little bit dark. It's not as highly visual as it could be. I have found a couple of extra settings that I can actually manipulate that. With any luck, this video should be better visibility than we've had in the previous ones, and it should also have, the last one I finally remembered how to use my sound software, which is a separate package, properly to master my sound. That degree of quality that we had in the last video, that's what you should be hearing from here on in. So with any luck, If anyone finds any of the videos difficult to hear or difficult to see, let me know. I don't mind, you know, a bit of clean your act up sort of criticism. So don't be scared to let me know if you reckon that the video quality's crap. Of course, you know, we're all victims of YouTube's compression. If you're a very small creator, they're going to use the absolute cruddiest compression that they can to maximise space on their servers, with the, you know, 6 million people uploading crap to them every day, which I can understand entirely. Oh, it's another thing. If you get ads on any of my videos, I'm really sorry. I've got no control over it. They do it to my music videos. I don't know whether you've noticed if you're just here for these Guild War 2 videos, but I write a lot of original music, everything from classical to hard rock and heavy metal and punk and pop and what have you. And I put those up on YouTube. That was actually the original thing that I put this channel into play for. And man, the number of ads that they run on my stuff, it just, you know, it can be a bit much sometimes. And I don't see $1 because they're not going to let you have any input on that action until such time as you've got at least 1,000 subscribers. And because I don't push people to sub, it really shits me when people do that. If people want to sub, they're going to sub. If they like the content, they'll do it. Don't beg, you know, where's your friggin' dignity? So, you know, I'll probably never get there because I don't work that stuff. I don't get on any other social media site. I refuse to use most social media. YouTube's as far as I go. It's about as much manipulation as I want to expose myself to. Yeah. And as much privacy as I'm willing to sacrifice to our corporate overlords is pretty much what they get to find out on my YouTube channel. So they're welcome to that, I suppose. They've got to, because this is free for me to use, you know what it is. If the cost is nothing for something that you're using, then your information is probably the cost. These aren't things to get bitter and twisted about. They're just facts of life. Companies got to make money. That's what they're there for. I don't agree with how far they take that, but that's a different story entirely. A reasonable rate of return means a very different thing to me and to some other people. And we get back to what we're here for, farming. This map definitely gives you a reasonable rate of return. It's awesome. Yeah, as you can see, it's just chest after chest, node after node, and lots of kills to keep it interesting in between. But the nodes aren't 100% protected like they are in Jahai Bluffs. Man, every single chest you pull out of Jahai Bluffs, you earn it. They've stationed what I call guards on pretty much every single spot. So you've got to fight. There's one particular fight, if we get to that video eventually, when I put it up. Jacarandas. And jacarandas mixed with harpies, diabolical. The devs, when they put that together, were really being, I mean, that is like Ember Bay levels of nasty. You know, the Chalice of Tears level of nasty. Well, maybe not that bad, but pretty bad, you know. But this map doesn't do that. It doesn't guard every chest that you've got to pick up with the worst possible combination of creatures that you have to deal with to get your loot. It actually does make Jahai Bluffs a lot of fun for me because, yeah, there are points there where I'm actually going, oh Jesus, I've got to kind of pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm not face rolling this. Obviously I don't want to do too much of that, just the occasional bit, just to keep me awake. So, you know, real easy. Yes, An absolutely enormous amount of nodes out here. Oh, there's also a couple of ascended items you can get with this currency, these icy runestones, but you need to have done a couple or one particular achievement I picked to knock over. You've got to have an achievement as a prereq before you can start switching these icy runestones for ascended jewellery. I picked one called Idol Tree, where basically you just need to find all of the Jawmag idols on the map, and happily enough they will show up in Blish HUD. It won't give you a path to find them all, but it will show their locations on the map. So you can use Blish HUD to get that achievement done and then be able to spend icy runestones on ascended, there's one particular ascended jewellery piece, and it's actually extremely handy because it's one of the items where you've got to have two of it, but they've got to be two different ones. So, you know, you'll use your winter berries for one of them in Living World Series 3, and then you may as well use these because these icy runestones are so easy to get. You get so many on a farming run. You can just do one run out here and then bang, you've got an ascended piece straight away. It's great if you don't have your ascended jewellery sorted out. But generally, if you've made it to Icebrood, you've probably got that stuff sorted out, to be honest. But yeah. Now you're more into the territory of I need as much gold as possible because I'm discovering that every single item I need for legendaries costs heaps. Legendaries are the biggest gold sink that I've come across so far in the game. You know, mounts cost me a fair bit. Some of the gobblers I had to chew up a fair whack of gold. Some of the unlocks for some of my scrolls for the Wizard's Portal scroll cost me a bit. Some of those mounts were bad, man. The Griffin cost a heap, and I rarely use it, so, you know, oh, whatever. And same goes for the Beetle. It was quite expensive as well. And yeah, your Wizard's Portal tomes and your Gobblers, there's expense carried up in that. If you've only been playing a few months, someone's saying, oh, it's like 200 gold, that's pucker up time, you know, that's, God, that's going to take a while. This is going to help. If you're at that stage, this will help an awful lot. So between this and your flax farm and smacking out your winterberries. Oh, I should also mention, these trophy shipments that we're picking up with this, there is a version of this that you can get with the Living World Series 3 currency. It's just not as good, but it's decent. You will make a reasonable amount of gold off it. So that's the, what is it, the whatever magic, unbound magic. That unbound magic, if you just go to Bloodstone's Fen, go to the merchant that's inside the airship where the teleport point is, and just have a look through what that merchant has. They have containers of materials that you can trade in. If you've got no other use for it, do that. You will get reasonable sales off it. It's just not as lucrative as the trophy shipment containers that you get with the Living World Series 4 magic. But, you know, all adds up. All adds up. I mean, you make an easy, 20 to 30 gold in a day with maybe 1 to 2 hours of play if you really buckle in and hit the farm runs and convert everything to gold. Have a couple of crafters and craft the odd item as well that's worth a bit. Yeah, man, you can do 20, 30 gold in a couple of hours. And that's without touching strikes, without touching fractals. I am going to do another video very soon as to why I farm, why I concentrate on farming, why I think it's a great thing to do, why I don't concentrate on fractals and strikes and raids and world versus world and PvP. I've actually got, I think, reasonable reasons for why I concentrate on farming, but we'll get into that in that video, because guess what? I see I'm teleporting. There's only one reason I'm going to teleport back home, because the notice has come back up on the screen that Osir's corridor is open. So here comes the loot fest. I'm just zeroing in on my map so I know which way to go, because yeah, the pathing does not cover you here with Blish. You are going to see just the most awesome display of gluttony. It's like a mukbang for loot as I go into this area. It's awesome. In fact, I'm going to walk away for a couple minutes. My method when I go in here after we deal with the big guys is I look for the entrance and I just go round the outside from the left, all the way around the outside, and just pick up every chest that I can. And that'll take a few minutes, of course, and I'll come back in a couple and start blathering on, just going for a drink of water while this continues on. Look at them. Look at all the loot whores. You. Oh, nasty. Yes, the filthy degenerates. Look at them go. Yeah, I have to baby my voice a little bit. For anyone who's been following my videos, I, after more than 30 years of smoking cigarettes, went cold turkey almost exactly 2 weeks ago. And my voice has been giving me a bit of curry. It's actually starting to come good now. Yeah, if you go back and listen to the first 3 videos, in chronological order, you can actually hear how raspy and soft my voice was at the start. I think I was at the 7-day mark when I made that first video, and man, my throat was absolutely harshed. But it's definitely improving daily now, feeling a lot better, and of course feeling a lot better now that I'm not smoking cigarettes. Not that I'm here to preach to anyone, mate, go with whatever vice gets you through. But after 3 odd decades of it, it was definitely time for me to call it quits. I think well, that's the last vice to go. They're all gone now. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't this, don't that. Meh. But I do like to farm. Look at all the chests. And yeah, you get some of the big ones here, and those masteries that I mentioned earlier, they actually do have some influence on what mats you're going to pull out of the big ones, and even the ability to crack open these big ones. You need, I think, at least the 2nd tier to crack them open. And I've run out of space. I just had to, yep, there we go. Yeah, when I did the recording for this, I actually did the Jahai Bluffs run first and then this. And I was going to do a run of the Domain of Corner and then look at the mats that I'd received from all 3. But it became obvious that this map was far and away superior, that the other 2 were actually in comparison wasting your time. Oh, by the way, you can only do this once per refresh cycle. Sending another character in here, the nodes just won't be there and the chest will already be opened. So I'm afraid this is once every 24 hours on one character per account sort of effort. Better mention that in case people start rubbing their hands at the idea of sending 6 characters into this map one after the other. I know it's an exciting idea, but no, they're not going to let you do that. It's not like Bitterfrost where you can just endlessly churn over those chests. Yeah, there's just more and more and more. Look at them all. Just so many chests. Now I'm pretty sure that the wiki event timer lists the times that the meta is available. And if you're going to be smart, it would be a good idea to just have a look at that so that you can time your farming run, so that you're definitely going to have access to this area at some point during the run. Whether it be at the start of it or whether it be at the end of it, doesn't really matter. You may want to do this first and then settle in for the farm run. But yeah, that would be the smart play. I would do that. I don't myself, I just jump in here and go, and nearly every time I've been in here at some point the weather's cleared before I finished my farm run, so I just haven't gotten too technical about it at this point. And probably never will, because, you know, I'm just very lazy. I just don't want to get that excited. Alright, so now I'm heading back to the actual farming run. I had a rough idea of where I was up to. Turned Blish HUD back on and jump back into that. It's actually getting close to the end. Now I think it's about, I don't know how much over half an hour a full farm run out here is. It's not a lot more than half an hour. So, I mean, if you're looking at it from a gold point of view, what do we get, about 12 containers? So you're going to make about 12 gold for about roughly half an hour's effort, maybe a little bit more than half an hour to be quite honest. So that gives you an idea. If you're the sort of person that wants to take it that far, look at a gold per minute sort of time spent evaluation of whether this is worth your time and effort. That is what I've worked out very roughly. And of course that doesn't take into account all of the items you're going to be salvaging, all of the armor items. Rares, all your ectos, you're going to get all your other mats from, I think it was something close to 200 items in total that I ended up salvaging from the one run, which is quite separate to the Icy Runestones and the Living World Series 4 Volatile Magic. So yeah, there's more to it than just the Volatile Magic doing this run. There's all of those chests have got armor pieces and weapon pieces and stuff in them as well, which of course you will salvage. Speaking of salvage, I mentioned the salvage-o-matics that I've got in my Bitterfrost video. I'll mention it here again. One thing I do not have is I do not have the glyphs for the Volatile Magic on my salvage-o-matics. And that's not because I'm like following some grand master plan. It's because ignorance, plain and simple. When I got the salvage-o-matics, I just did not realise what a difference to your financial status Volatile Magic could make in this game. Otherwise, I definitely would have got the glyphs that give you Volatile Magic every time you mine or chop down a tree or harvest a node of any type. So that's another one to add to your Volatile Magic generation. if you've got that, you'll be earning more money than I can. Those glyphs are bloody expensive. I'll get another set maybe when I can come up with an excuse. In Australian dollars, it's about $50 to get the set. So I've got one set which gives me bonus chances at rare mats and extra swings at nodes and stuff like that. But if I'd known what I know now back then, I would have picked the Volatile Magic one definitely. So anyone who's thinking about getting those, and you've got to have a look at the heavy metal ones. I had someone harvesting next to me with one of those today. Oh, that's what I'm going to get when I get my next set, definitely. But you know, as you've seen, I'm a bit of a music freak. That's why I've got the music infusion on my Ascended Armor, all the notes and that. Fancy myself as a bit of a hobby musician, and I do the odd bit of metal when I'm not doing classical, which are closer in type than you would realise if you don't play. So yeah, definitely be going for those at some point and fixing that up so I can actually make money a little bit faster, because I do a lot of, man, when you're doing your flax farm, when you're doing anything farm, you're going to be pulling in Volatile Magic at the same time. Such a good idea. Now I reckon if you're still watching this, either you're like me and you've got a serious case of loot hypnosis, or you actually like the content and the way I present it. If that's the case, if it's the latter rather than the former, I really do appreciate it. This is pretty much the end of it. I'd like to thank you for hanging in there and listening to me blathering on. Any suggestions you might have as to what you'd like to see videos on and how I can improve my content, mate, let me know, please. Other than that, you all have a good one. Thanks again for showing up. Really appreciate it. Coit out.